Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I wanted to share with you the results of my propagating lavender. I did a video on it about 3 weeks ago. YouTube did not send it out to my subscribers for some reason, but I will link to it in the comments and in the description just so that you can kind of go back and reference it. I do encourage you to do that because it's got the whole step-by-step of what I did to propagate these. These took about 2 to 3 weeks somewhere. They were starting to root. I did check some of them, so I do know I have some rooting here to share with you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. And just so you know, this side over here, I used rooting hormone on. This side over here did not have rooting hormone on it. So we've got a little bit of a test and a little bit of a comparison to see what works best. I used the Hormodin rooting hormone over here, and of course, these had nothing. So let me get you a closer look. All right, so there are some signs that this has rooted that are very visible. And a lot of times when you get new growth, it is a possible sign of rooting, but it is not always a true sign of rooting. So I do see some new growth stemming off of this little one right here. There's some new growth coming on this one. There's some back here. So that's maybe a sign that it's starting to root, but not necessarily a foolproof way of discovering that. So the thing that you do is you check and you feel if there's a little bit of resistance coming from the cuttings. And if there is, then maybe it's going to have some roots there that are holding it in place. The other thing I like to do is I check the bottom to see if there is roots that are coming out of the holes. And I don't actually see anything coming out of them. But I did take a peek the other day, and at this little set of them actually it was this set back over here. These had definitely rooted. All three of them have roots, and I'll pull those out so I can show those to you better. But I don't know about any of the rest of them. I only checked that one cell flat. So let's see what we've got. Okay, so you always want to be careful when you're taking out your cuttings, and what I like to do is I kind of squeeze around them and loosen up the soil a little bit. Also, they are wet, so they've been watered, and that really helps to separate them out once you do get them out of those containers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently remove them so you can kind of see what the roots look like. And you can see right there, we've got a pretty decent amount of rooting. That's one with rooting hormone there. Let me check this other one here. You can see here we've got some good roots on it. And then this other one, we are 3 for 3. Now those three all had rooting hormone with it. So let me check this other cell right here. We'll do a few of these. All right, so this whole clump came out together. We got more roots on that one. This one has just got a few roots started. So, I mean, that's good. It's on its way. And this one's got a good bit. Let's knock some of that soil and let it fall back into our container. So you see there, that's some really nice rooting here. And again, these are about 3 weeks out from actually being stuck into this flat. So those are the ones, and we got a stink bug. Let's get rid of that guy. So those right there all had rooting hormone on it, as did the rest of those here. So for comparison, let's go over here and we'll start with these. The ones with these did not have rooting hormone in them. So we'll just give them a shot and we'll see if there's any difference at all. And I'm going to gently start pulling these out. Okay, well that one does have roots here. This one does not seem to have any roots at all. So I'll set those aside. And then this one here, this is kind of what I would expect. All right, now those could potentially still root if I left them in longer. So I'll just set them aside. This one did have roots on it. Let's check another one. This one has some live growth on it. This one looks like it's got a little bit of dieback at the top that I'm just going to pinch off. So they still look really healthy overall. And they still have a really good shot at rooting. If I go through this one here and I don't see better roots than was on that first one, I'll probably leave the rest of this to go, and then I'll go ahead and remove these and pot them up and see what I've got as far as roots go. So let's pull these out, and they all came out way too easy. So see that? They did not root too well at all. So far the results are that the rooting hormone really helped a ton, and the non-rooting hormone, while they're still alive and there's still potential for roots, really didn't produce much. So what might be a good strategy to do at this point is to take these, apply some rooting hormone on them, and then reinsert them into the flat so that we can potentially get some roots off of those. So I'm going to set those aside and I'll restick them here in a few minutes. And let's go on and check out what else is in this flat here, this side of it. There we go. We got, looks like that one doesn't have a whole lot to it, but the two others look like they have some roots. We will set that aside here with these others to re-stick. All right, and here we got roots on all three of them. The roots on this one are really small, but they're there, and there's 2 more here. So these were all good to go ahead and start potting up, even though that they've got a small amount of roots. They look like they're at the stage where they need to start being on their own. All right, so from that back one here, again, we got 2 out of the 3 that look like they have rooted. And we have 1 more of the rooting hormone ones that have rooted to this stage. So let's check them. And here you go. So that one's got a lot of good roots, this one's got some, and this one's got a little bit started and growing. So we've got quite a few there that did root. You can see here we've got others that I'm not so sure about. I am curious about this one right here. That one's got some leaves. It's starting to show some signs. But let's check it. Let's see. Does it have resistance? Not really. So you can see there, that's a good example of you've got some new growth, but you don't have roots. And that happens a lot. So don't use the leaves as an indicator by itself. You got to look at some other factors too, particularly the resistance. And then if you've got smaller containers, maybe the roots coming out of the bottom of the container. Okay, so let's go ahead and count through and see what we have exactly here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we had some really good success with the rooting hormone cuttings, and maybe need a little bit more time on some of these others here. So we'll go ahead and pot up what I've got, and I'll put them into a mixture of fine bark shavings and a little bit of core. The core will help keep a little bit of moisture in, but the fine bark shavings will keep a nice well-drained mixture, because lavender does not like to be wet. It likes its root systems to dry out really well. So for pots, I'm going to use these core pots. They have a lot of good drainage in them, and it's probably about perfect for lavender, that you don't want to have too much moisture stuck around the roots. All right, so potting it up is extremely simple. All we're going to do is we're going to fill these containers about halfway in there, compact it down just a little bit, and then we're going to take one of these nice little cuttings, hold it there in place, and then fill in the soil around it. So it's really simple. After we get them all potted up, we'll give them a little bit of water, and we'll keep them probably in a shady location for a few days until they have acclimated to the pots, and then we can start exposing them more and more to the sunlight. So I actually miscounted the number of rooted cuttings that I had to the positive. This is 8 right here, and I've got 9 right there, plus the rest of the flat. So it looks like I have 17 successful rooted lavender cuttings from that batch. So overall, I am pleased. I've got 17 new lavender plants that I can put out in the yard. I'm not going to do that right away. I'm going to let them overwinter in their pots, and I'll keep them in a sheltered location so that they're not going to be exposed to all the cold and bad weather that we're going to have this winter. But in the springtime, hopefully they will have some really good root systems that I can either pot up into larger pots and then plant out, or go ahead and plant out where I want them to eventually grow. And that worked out last year when I did them from seed, or this spring when I did them from seed, and they got about this size. I was able to put them outdoors just right in the ground, and they did fine. So I'm really looking forward to that. These could be a great thing to use for a knot garden, or as a hedge area, or as something to kind of ward away animals like rabbits and deer that aren't so fond of the fragrance of lavender and similar type of plants. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I really appreciate you watching. I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden.